Your Royal Highness, HE President Tshering Your Royal Highness, HE President Tshering ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of conveying to you the greetings and warm wishes of His Majesty the King HE President Tshering, to His Excellency Mr. Oliver Grimson, the President of Iceland, and to all the distinguished delegates to this, the first Himalaya Third Pole Circle meeting. On behalf of the government and the people of Bhutan, I also have the privilege of extending a very warm welcome to all of you here. I wish you successful deliberations, but I hope you get to enjoy your country too. Please bear in mind that you are not just visitors here, you are also our guests. And as valued guests, we insist on getting to know you. So do your work, have your meetings, but please make some time for us to get to know our people, to get to know our country, and to get to know our culture. I am especially happy to welcome President Grimson to our country. His Excellency is the architect of the Third Pole Circle, and as its chief driving force, he has personally steered the world's attention to the risks of climate change in our region. Our region, the Hindu Kush Himalaya region, now called the Himalaya Third Pole Circle, is a special region. It is special for many reasons and especially different for different people. So it is with me. Here then are my top 10 reasons why I find our region to be special. At number 10, we are the roof of the world. We have the world's tallest mountain, Mount Everest, at 8,848 meters. We have the world's second tallest mountain, K2, and the third tallest mountain, Kanchenjunga. In fact, we have every peak in the world, every mountain in the world that is above 7,200 meters. And there are 108 of them. Put simply, we stand head and shoulders above the rest of the world. Number 9, we are still growing. We may have the tallest mountains, but they are still growing. Growing by about 5 millimeters each year. This, when many mountains in the rest of the world are fast eroding. We are growing because we are young. Our mountains were formed just 55 million years ago. 55 million years ago may seem like a long time, but it was just a fleeting moment relative to the age of the Earth, which is 4.5 billion years. So our mountains were formed very recently when the Indo-Australian plate crossed the Titus Ocean to slam into the Eurasian plate. This intercontinental collision is what formed the mountains. And what keeps our mountains from growing? Or rather, what keeps our mountains growing even today? Number 8, we have virgin mountains. Bhutan alone has 20 unconquered peaks. The tallest of them and the tallest unclimbed mountain in the world is Gangkhar Pinsum, located on the China-Bhutan border. It's a wonder that today, in this age of unbridled consumption, we have managed to keep people from defiling this magnificent 7,570-meter mountain. Number 7, we have Shangri-La. In 1933, when James Hilton described Shangri-La in his book, Lost Horizons, he was inspired by our region. 8 decades on, much of our region, our lands, our people, our traditions, our values, are still timeless, are still that Shangri-La that James Hilton had celebrated. Number 6, we have gods. Thousands of gods and goddesses, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, deities and spirits have taken up residence in our region. Consider Mount Kailash, thankfully also left unconquered. Mount Kailash is revered by Hindus and Jains, Buddhists and the Bon. And 2 very influential gods have made their home on Mount Kailash. The powerful Lord Shiva and the blissful Buddha Chakrasambhava. Number 5, we have treks. In fact, we have the world's best treks. Our region offers a range of treks through some of the world's most spectacular landscape. This indeed is trekker's paradise. We offer everything, from mile day hikes in our valleys, to moderate excursions along our rivers, to mad, mind-boggling treks on our high mountains. Number 4, we have hotspots. 4 of the world's biological hotspots are in our region. But because our elevations range from 60 meters above sea level all the way up to above 8,000 meters, and because our region is so close to the tropics, we have been blessed with an abundant natural resources. Our lush plains, our hot tropical jungles pass on through cool temperate forests, and they give way to frigid alpine pastures, sometimes all within the distance of just 25 kilometers as the crow flies. Number 3, we have the Yeti. I haven't seen the Yeti. And people who have seen the Yeti have not been able to provide credible evidence. But the Yeti does exist. Take my word for it. But elephants and rhinos and buffaloes roam our region freely. And so do big cats and primates and bears. And the blue sheep, and the takin, and the red panda. Our tigers have been spotted in the lush plains, as well as the high mountain pastures, as high as 4,200 meters. If you were to go above that, you'd find the elusive snow leopard. And if you were to go above that still, you may find that very elusive Yeti. Number one, we have wonderful people. 210 of us have made our home in this region, across 4.3 million square kilometers. We are the handsome Afghans. We are the sturdy Sherpas. We are the wise yogis and the wizened monks. Our diverse people, still living in ethnic communities, together, speaking 600 languages and countless dialects, is the reason why our people is the number one reason why I find our region special. Our region is special, and we must protect it. Look, I live here. I was born here, I grew up here, and I'm happy here. So I have a vested interest in protecting our region, for myself, for my children, and their children. But we have our challenges. Challenges that threaten our region. Challenges that threaten our existence. I see three types of challenges. The first type of challenge is socio-economic. Poverty, illiteracy, unemployment, poor health care. These are some of them. But these challenges are big. And even if they are big, they are local in nature. And if a country is determined, that country should be able to solve these problems fairly quickly. We have been very fortunate in Bhutan. Our benevolent kings have ensured that our economic growth is slow, is deliberate, and in our own terms, so that they have not interfered in the unprecedented social progress that we in Bhutan take for granted today. The second challenge, the second type of challenge, is ecological. Deforestation, pollution. These are some of the challenges. These challenges are also big, but they are also local in nature. So if a government is determined, is seriously determined, and is willing to make immediate sacrifices, these problems can be solved too. Here too in Bhutan, we have been exceptionally fortunate. Our enlightened kings have religiously implemented a policy that strives to carefully balance economic growth with social progress and inclusiveness and sustainability and good governance. This, in a sense, is what we call gross national happiness. And it is this unique development philosophy that has kept most of our environment pristine. Today, 72% of our land is under forest cover. More than half our land, 52% of it, is protected as nature reserves, wildlife sanctuaries, and biological corridors. And we have pledged to the world to remain carbon neutral for all time to come. The third type of challenge is climate change. Massive flooding, severe droughts, disease, famine. These are but some of the results of climate change and extreme weather. These are huge challenges, and they are international in scope. No one country can fight climate change. We have to act together. We have to act together because the international community still has not decided how climate change will affect our region. A report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change had warned that our glaciers will disappear by 2035. Shortly thereafter, another study, this one by the University of Colorado in Boulder, has claimed that our ice is not really melting, and that some of our glaciers are in fact growing. We have to work together. Because regardless of what these pundits may say, the fact of the matter is that in Bhutan our glaciers are retreating. Our glaciers are retreating so rapidly that we have had to claw our way through rocky moraine to bring down the level of our glacial lakes so that they do not breach their dams and flood our ecosystem. We have to work together, because regardless of what the experts say, the fact of the matter is that in Bhutan, temperatures are rising. Our valleys are noticeably warmer, and the mountains that surround the valleys, the snow is noticeably absent. We have to work together, because thinking globally and acting locally is not enough. We've tried this in Bhutan. We have made tremendous sacrifices to act locally. And while individual efforts are still important, they cannot stand up to the onslaught of climate change. To stand up to climate change, we must work together. We must think globally and act regionally. Our entire region must come together, to work together, to be heard together, to fight together. Only then will we have a chance of standing up to climate change. Only then will we have a chance of controlling the rising temperatures in our region. It's easy for me to control my temperature. If it increases by 1 degree centigrade, I feel uncomfortable, but I don't do anything about it. If it increases by 2 degrees centigrade, I have a fever. I pop in a paracetamol and voila, I'm better. My temperature is back down. We humans are fairly resilient, but our planet isn't. Increases in temperature caused by climate change cannot be reversed easily. There is no paracetamol for climate change. An increase in 1 degree centigrade will undermine the livelihood of millions of people. An increase in 2 degrees centigrade would be disastrous. Our glaciers would melt, they'd cause severe flooding, and entire ecosystems would be damaged. In the process, hundreds of millions of people would suffer hunger and disease. Climate change is not a sick fever. Climate change is slow poison. Slow poison that cannot be reversed easily. To fight climate change, to fight slow poison, we need to act now, and we need to act on a war footing. We need to act together. As we Bhutanese say, we need to think and act as one. The status quo is not an option. So I urge our delegates here to think and act as one, to think globally and act locally, to force your individual governments to do their individual parts to save their individual ecosystems. The status quo is not an option. It is dangerous. So I implore the distinguished delegates here, to think and act as one, to think globally and act regionally, to join forces as a third circle bloc, to fight together, to be heard together, to demand for action together, to fight together to save our region, to save Shangri-La, to save the roof of the world, to fight together to save our people, to save our gods, to save our goddesses, and to save that elusive Yeti. Thank you very much. President Tobgay.